Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your Monday Night Raw post show. And man, there was a lot of things that happened last night on the episode of Monday Night Raw last night. We're going to deep dive into all that stuff today, give you my thoughts on what happened on Raw last night, and some news that also came out of Raw as well, all in today's episode, man, and give you guys a full rundown of what happened last night on Monday Night Raw, man. But let's start off the night. We have Monday Night Raw General Manager Adam Pearce. He's out in the ring with a microphone. Pearce says that it's unfortunate that he has to have a conversation with someone he knows. Pearce then calls out Seth Rollins. Rollins comes out to the ring, but he's not alone. A bunch of masked assailants surround the ring with Adam Pearce inside the middle of the ring. They all enter the ring and leave one masked assailant left in the ring, which is Seth Rollins. Pearce says that him and Rollins see eye to eye when it comes to the vision. But Pearce has a job to do with being the general manager of Monday Night Raw. Pearce also announces that Seth Rollins is not medically cleared to compete. Pearce also then says if the Vision gets a hold of Rollins, it could cost Rollins his career. After this, Adam Pearce and Seth Rollins are interrupted by none other than Logan Paul and Austin Theory from the Vision. Logan Paul has a microphone and says that he's going to destroy Rollins. Theory then says that Rollins has a bullet with his name on it. Logan and Theory then enter the ring, but Rollins takes off. After this, LA Knight is here. LA Knight comes out to the ring. He attacks Theory and Paul. The Usos are here as well. The Usos then quickly attack Theory and Logan Paul. So it looks like the Usos and LA Knight have some unfinished business with the Vision. And moving on from that, we go into our first official match of Monday Night Raw last night. It is a women's gauntlet match where the winner would face AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental title. And starting off the gauntlet match, we have Lyra Valkyria taking on Io Sky. I thought it was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Lyra and Io, with Io Sky keeping the pace of the match. Lyra hits a spin kick for a near fall. Both Lyra and Io Sky both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Lyra hitting an enziguri on Io Sky. Io Sky then gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting a buzzsaw kick on Lyra Valkyria. Io then goes to the top rope, hits a moonsault off the top rope, landing on Lyra Valkyria, pins for the 3, and Lyra Valkyria is now eliminated from the women's gauntlet match. The next competitor in the match is none other than Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez. She enters the match. Raquel hits a corkscrew Vader elbow on Io for a near fall. Io then gets up, hits a Hurricane Rana, followed by a missile dropkick. Io then hits a running knee on Raquel. Liv Morgan is here. She is causing a distraction with the referee, but Stephanie Vaquer is here. Stephanie comes down to the ring. She attacks Liv Morgan. Io then capitalizes on this by hitting a roll-up on Raquel, pins for the 3, and Raquel Rodriguez is now eliminated from the women's gauntlet match. After the match, though, Raquel gets upset about the outcome of the match. She ends up attacking Io Sky. She also hits a Tahana bomb on Io off the apron. After that, Ivy Nile comes out to the ring. She's the next competitor in the match. Ivy Nile then capitalizes on the attack from Raquel by hitting a roll-up on Io Sky, pins for the 3, and Io Sky is now eliminated from the women's gauntlet match. After that, Bayley is the next entrant into the match. Ivy and Bayley both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Bayley hitting an elbow drop on Ivy Nile for a near fall. Ivy Nile then gets up, hits a devastating vertical suplex on Bayley in the middle of the ring for a near fall. Ivy then hits a superplex off the top rope, but Bayley hits a Bayley to belly on Ivy Nile in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3, and Ivy Nile is now eliminated from the women's gauntlet match. After that, Asuka is the next entrant into the match. Bayley then hits a dive to the outside, taking out Asuka. Bayley then follows that up by hitting a running knee for a near fall on Asuka as well. Asuka and Bayley then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Bayley hitting a Bayley to belly on Asuka for a near fall. Kairi then, who was ringside during this matchup, goes to attack Bayley, but Lyra Valkyria comes out to the ring. She ends up attacking Kairi Sane. Asuka then applies an Asuka lock in the middle of the ring, but the hold is broken. Bayley then gets up, hits a Rose Plant on Asuka in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and moving on to face AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental title, is Bayley. Hats off to Bayley for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have an Intercontinental title matchup where it is Penta defending the belt against OG Americano. Before the match even gets started, you see Penta entering the ring, but then you see Americano on his way out to the ring, but he bumps into none other than Danhausen. Danhausen was trying to take off the mask of Americano. Americano tells Danhausen nobody touches the mask. After this, Danhausen says that Americano is cursed. So Penta is waiting in the ring. All of a sudden, El Grande Americano's music hits, and it's El Grande Americano. El Grande Americano comes out to the ring. Penta looks confused, but the referee sounds for the bell. The match itself, it was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between El Grande Americano and Penta, with Penta hitting a Hurricane Rana on El Grande Americano. Grande Americano was trying to keep the pace of the match, with Penta hitting a backstabber on El Grande Americano. Penta then goes for a dive to the outside, but is met with a right hand from Americano. Penta then gets up, hits a sling blade on El Grande Americano, but Penta hits a crossbody as well for a near fall. Americano gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting a devastating spine buster on Penta in the middle of the ring for a near fall. Penta then goes for a Mexican Destroyer, but Americano counters it with a Death Valley Driver for a near fall. Penta then gets up, ends up hitting a devastating springboard Mexican Destroyer on El Grande Americano, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and still Intercontinental Champion, is Penta. Hats off to Penta for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we see the Judgment Day backstage. Dominic Mysterio ends up showing up. He's asking where Finn Balor is. Dominic then says that he's going to the ring to address, I guess, Finn Balor. And that's exactly what happens. The Judgment Day with Dominic Mysterio come out to the ring. Dominic Mysterio grabs a microphone and says that he demands a rematch for the Intercontinental title. Dom says that he should be the champion right now. Mysterio then also blames Finn Balor for his loss against Penta. After this, Finn Balor comes out to the ring with JD McDonough. Dominic then asks Finn, where the hell have you been? Dom then says that he hopes Finn is here for Dom's rematch with Penta. Finn then says, grabs a microphone and says that Dom is right. I did cost you your Intercontinental title match. Finn says that he was trying to do whatever he can to help the Judgment Day because they are his family. Finn then also says that Dom wanted to be the greatest Mysterio of all time. But to do that, Dom has to fight his own battles. After that, Mysterio gets a little pissed off. He gets a little bit irate. Then Finn then says maybe Ray was right. And the fact that Dominic Mysterio is a spoiled little prick. Which, again, shots fired from Finn Balor to Dominic Mysterio. After this, Finn then quickly attacks Dominic Mysterio. JD McDonough was trying to calm down Finn, but Finn then hits a sling blade on Dom in the middle of the ring. Finn Balor then sets up a missile drop kick, but JD then ends up attacking Finn Balor. Liv Morgan and Raquel then attack Finn. Dominic then gets up, hits a 619 using the bell hammer. Mysterio then goes to the top rope, hits a frog splash on Finn Balor, and then JD hits Finn with a chair shot. Mysterio then hits another frog splash using a chair on Finn, and it looks like Finn Balor is now out of the Judgment Day. We'll talk more about this and how I feel about this at the end of today's episode. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's Obafemi taking on Rusev. I thought this was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Obafemi and Rusev, with Obafemi and Rusev both exchanging in the middle of the ring. Obafemi was trying to keep the pace of the match, but Rusev sends Oba into the ring post, followed by Rusev hitting a Machka kick in the middle of the ring. Oba then gets up, tosses Rusev across the ring, and then Obafemi ends up hitting a devastating powerbomb on Rusev in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Obafemi. Hats off to Obafemi for getting the win in this matchup. And moving on from that, we hear from the World Heavyweight Champion himself, CM Punk. CM Punk comes out to the ring. He grabs a microphone. Punk says that there are some people that are mad at him. Punk says that Roman has never respected him throughout his entire career. Punk then says that don't hold your breath, or hold your breath that Roman might show up. Punk says that he will make Roman respect him. Punk also talks about the World Heavyweight title and how he wants to be a fighting champion. Punk says since he's been here, he had leveled up WWE. Punk says that last week he lowered himself to Roman's level. After this, CM Punk is interrupted by none other than the Usos. The Usos come out to the ring. Both Jimmy and Jay have a microphone in hand. Jay, then, you can see, is irate and pissed off. Jay says that he needs Punk to apologize right now. Punk says, why is Roman sending his cousins to do his dirty work? After that, Jimmy then has the microphone and says that he has nothing to do with Roman. Or this has nothing to do with Roman. All this has to do with is something called respect. Jimmy says that he respects Punk for what he's done in his career. But Jimmy says that he can disrespect Roman all he wants, but not their family. Jimmy then asks Punk to apologize. Punk then says, you're right. Sika doesn't have a voice. But Punk says that him and the Usos, have a history. They talk about, obviously Punk wrestling for not the Usos, but Alpha and Sika, spending time in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and working on the indies, and what the Usos family have done for CM Punk throughout his wrestling career. Punk talks about the knowledge that he's got from the Usos family, but then Punk quickly mocks Roman. Jay then says, this isn't about Roman, but he needs Punk to say sorry. The fans then chant, say sorry. Punk then tells Jimmy that he's sorry. But Punk said that he's sorry that how Roman has treated his family like garbage. This obviously irated Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. Punk says that Roman disrespected one of his mentors in Dusty Rhodes. And Punk says if Roman cared about the business, then he would be here tonight. After this, the Usos then quickly attack CM Punk and leaving CM Punk in the middle of the ring. Some interesting stuff there between the Usos and CM Punk. Couple of things I want to talk about with you guys, man, when it pertains to Monday Night Raw before I get the hell up out of here. Number one, was it a solid show? Yeah, it really honestly wasn't that bad of a show. Majority of the show, match-wise, was the women's gauntlet match. We also see the fallout from Finn Balor and the Judgment Day, and we also see CM Punk and the Usos as well as LA Knight throughout the duration of Monday Night Raw last night. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about, man. A couple elephants in the room, if you will. First and foremost, I want to talk about the Judgment Day. This is something that a lot of people have been waiting for. As far as when are we going to see some change in the confines of the Judgment Day? Is somebody going to leave? Are they going to add a new member to the Judgment Day? Is Finn Balor eventually going to walk and do his own thing? So we finally got some answers to that last night. Finn Balor came out to the ring. He confronted Dominic Mysterio because Dominic Mysterio has his full belief that Finn Balor ended up costing him his Intercontinental title against Penta in their match. And Finn, he acknowledged it. He said, yeah, I cost you your match. But if you want to be the best Mysterio, then you have to start solving your problems on your own. This obviously pissed off Mysterio, and Mysterio ended up taking it upon himself to attack Finn Balor. Now, in my honest opinion, man, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. In the past few weeks, when it pertains to Finn Balor has been in the main event scene. He's now had 2 matches against current World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk, one in Ireland for Monday Night Raw, and then most recently at the Elimination Chamber. So you can tell that there was a little bit of a seismic shift as far as the direction of Finn Balor. Obviously, it seems as if Finn Balor is going to be back in the main event scene, and looks like they might actually push Finn Balor, which, again, I'm all for it. I think Finn Balor needs to be in the main event scene. But the other thing I don't think a lot of people are looking into is the fact of a possible matchup here between Dominic Mysterio and the Demon Finn Balor. Are we possibly going to see a return of the Demon Finn Balor back in the confines of WWE? Because Finn Balor is not going to be no longer a part of the Judgment Day. So again, a matchup between Finn Balor as the Demon taking on Dominic Mysterio, most likely maybe at WrestleMania. I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. I think it would be great for Dominic Mysterio, and it's a great match for Finn Balor. Absolutely. And not for nothing, the Judgment Day needed a seismic shift of change in the confines of the Judgment Day. They needed something to, not only bring back some limelight to the Judgment Day, but bring in a spark to get fans intrigued or interested in the Judgment Day. Because for the past few weeks, minus Finn Balor, the most excitement that we got with the Judgment Day is either something with Raquel Rodriguez or something with Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer. JD McDonough really wasn't doing shit. Dominic Mysterio really wasn't doing a whole hell of a lot either. Mainly, it was just Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, really pretty much hyping up the Judgment Day, or the Judgment Day being in some kind of significant storyline on Monday Night Raw. But now, with them kicking out Finn Balor and the Judgment Day pretty much kicking out Finn Balor, it's got a lot more eyeballs on the Judgment Day. Because now, obviously there's going to be a rebuttal for Finn Balor. Finn's going to have something to say about this. The Judgment Day are going to have something to say about why they did what they did by attacking Finn Balor and ultimately kicking him out of the Judgment Day. So hopefully next week on Monday Night Raw, we get some kind of rebuttal from Finn and see where the direction, or I would say the new direction, moving forward with the Judgment Day without Finn Balor. So that's interesting in itself right there. The other thing I want to talk about, obviously the other big elephant in the room, was CM Punk. CM Punk, as of late, ever since this matchup was announced between Punk and Roman, Punk has been red hot, bro. With the promos that he has had as of late, the one that he had last week with Roman, where he mentioned that he was going to bury Roman right next to his father. I mean, it was a little bit of a low blow. CM Punk kind of took it personal. And this obviously pissed off a lot of people. And it also pissed off Roman's cousins, the Usos, which the Usos confronted CM Punk last night. You can tell that Jey Uso was irate. He was pissed off with CM Punk. He was demanding an apology from CM Punk for what CM Punk said last week. And yeah, he got that apology, but it wasn't in the aspect of what he said. It was more or less he apologized for Roman Reigns, or to the Usos for Roman Reigns, because Roman treats them like garbage. So it wasn't like CM Punk was going to apologize for what he said by making it personal with Roman Reigns. It was more or less on the line that he feels bad for the Usos because he feels as if Roman has treated them like shit. So, again, the storyline progression that we're getting here with CM Punk and Roman Reigns with this matchup that's taking place at WrestleMania is right now the best storyline going in all of WWE right now. We got Roman showing up next week. We got Brock Lesnar showing up next week. I believe Monday Night Raw next week is in San Antonio, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to see the likes of Brock. We're going to see the likes of Roman Reigns. Obviously, Roman's going to have a lot to say after what Punk said about, what he said about his dad. So we're going to get that rebuttal from Roman Reigns. So again, next week's Monday Night Raw should be a really, really good card. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We also had the Women's Gauntlet match where Bayley was successful in the Women's Gauntlet, and she is now facing AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental title. And look, I'm all for it. I mean, obviously AJ Lee made a statement last week on Raw that she wants to be a fighting champion, and that there's current members of the female roster that she wants to work with. She had mentioned Bayley, she's mentioned Natty, she's mentioned Rhea Ripley, she's mentioned quite a bit of names on the female roster, or the main roster for the female in WWE, that she would like to have matches against. And right now we get one of those matches between AJ Lee and Bayley for the Women's Intercontinental title. So I believe that match is also taking place next week. So she is trying to be a fighting champion, leading us into this year's WrestleMania, which I don't know if AJ is going to carry that belt past this year's WrestleMania. We'll see how it plays out. But again, man, this was a solid Raw. I mean, a lot of people are trying to figure out still what the hell is going on going into WrestleMania. There's a lot of still uncertainty with Seth Rollins. Adam Pearce announced last night that Rollins is not medically cleared to compete. We also got news that Paul Heyman, after the attacks that he sustained from Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman is going to be now out indefinitely after the attack that Seth Rollins handed to Paul Heyman. So we are not going to see Paul Heyman. It seems as if Paul Heyman has now been written off WWE TV for quite some time now. So again, it does beg the question, what is going to be next for Seth Rollins? Is there a program here where Seth Rollins is going to face off against one of the members of the Division? In my opinion, the way things are playing out, it's going to be the Usos taking on Logan Paul and Austin Theory. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are currently injured at this moment. Now, again, Braun Breaker could be on his way back. They could be, kind of playing that off. And Breaker could be ready by the time we get to WrestleMania in the next 6 weeks. If not, then a lot of eyeballs are pointing towards Seth Rollins' opponent being Brock Lesnar at this year's WrestleMania. They could play off something where Brock Lesnar saw what happened to his advocate. This pissed off Brock Lesnar. And besides Lesnar having the open challenge, Lesnar calls out Seth Rollins after what Rollins did to the Beast advocate in Paul Heyman. So again, the way WrestleMania is starting to slowly shape up, you can start to see it kind of unravel a little bit. Now, again, I can see the Usos taking on the Vision. I can see Seth Rollins taking on Brock Lesnar. I don't know where we put LA Knight into that. I really don't. Unless some way, somehow, the Vision acquires another certain talent to join their stable, I don't know how we're going to get LA Knight a part of this year's WrestleMania card. And honestly, in a match that remotely makes any kind of sense right now with the storyline going on between the Vision, LA Knight, and the Usos. And meanwhile, it's crazy to think that, considering the fact that LA Knight has been dealing with the Vision for almost a year now. I think it's been roughly 11 to 11 and a half months. So it is crazy to see how long LA Knight has been dealing with the Vision, bro. It's been about a year. So to see him not a part of WrestleMania or in some kind of match with the Vision after him dealing with the Vision for about almost a year, it's insane. And we don't know how this year's WrestleMania is going to play out. We have no idea. All we do know is that the Usos and Seth Rollins and LA Knight have an issue with Paul Heyman and the Vision. And it's going to be very interesting and very telling to see how this is going to play out leading us into this year's WrestleMania. But again, it wasn't a bad show. It was a solid show at best. Obviously, things could be a lot better, but I'm liking the storyline progression that we're getting here between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. By far, to me, in my opinion, it's the best story going right now in all of WWE. But like I said, man, Raw was not bad. Obviously, it could be a lot better. But all in all, man, Monday Night Raw last night was not a bad show at all, man. So again, it was a solid show, a decent show, and I look forward to next week's Monday Night Raw. But with that being said, though, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.